When I was 10 years old, I played the orphan Oliver in a downtown Chicago production of Oliver Twist. In the show, the starving orphan Oliver goes up to the headmaster with his empty bowl and says, "Please, sir, I want some more." The headmaster goes ballistic and says, "More? How dare you ask for more?" How many of us sometimes feel a little guilty asking the universe for more when we already have more than other people? The problem is if we stay stuck and don't ask for more, we have no growth. You can sometimes feel like Oliver. More love, please. More health, please. More abundance, please. More passion for life, please. Imagine if there was a way that you could ask for more without any guilt. It's almost like a guilt-free snack. Well, you don't have to imagine it, because I'm going to give you all the tools today to not only ask for more with no guilt, but have a joyful expectancy of getting more. So when you want to have more money in your life, you say, "I want to have this amount of money per month or more." Don't forget to put the "or more" on there. This or something better. That's how you create more in your life. However, before we get to creating more, we have to first overcome what Ronan Dredge calls the 3D roadblocks. The first D is disappointment. This can happen when people don't exactly support our dream or our vision, and you ask them for feedback. For example, let's say you want to lose weight, and you do, and you're proud of it. And you go up to your friend and you're like, "Hey, I'm feeling really good about myself, I lost some weight," and they say, "Really? I can't tell." Disappointment. Or recently I decided I want to be on television, and I was talking to an entertainment executive, and he said, "Respectfully, John, to be on television, you have to either be famous or young, and you're neither." Disappointment. The key to disappointment and dealing with it is forgiveness. Forgive everybody and everything that's ever let you down. Don't let disappointment slow you down. I've done a little research, and I found out that Tim Gunn was neither young nor famous when he got cast on The Mentor as Project Runway. They told me that he was hired as a consultant off camera, and they couldn't find anybody to play the mentor. So at the last minute, they said, "Hey, Tim, would you be open to doing that?" And that's how Tim Gunn got on TV. So just get in the room. Don't worry about how it's going to happen. And I'm happy to tell you that by having that intention, the forgiveness thing works. I've been on CBS News and Talk of the Town, and I'm just getting started. So if you apply forgiveness and let go of disappointing comments coming at you, you can have what you want too. So the second D is discouragement. This is what we do to ourselves. We say, "I want to have this," and then when it doesn't happen as fast as we think it should, we can get discouraged. For example, back on weight loss. Right? I'm going to lose 5 pounds this week. And you get on the scale, "Ooh, I only lost 1 pound. Discouraged. You could go, "Oh, forget it then. What's the point? I only lost 1 pound. Or you can say, "It's all right. I'm making some progress. My business partners, Judy and Dee, and I have started a business together. And January, we had a really good month, and then February, not so good." And we said, well, we could get discouraged and give up and say, "Well, it's not working." Or we could get, and here's the solution to discouragement, perspective. Don't let 1 week's worth of results or 1 month's revenue decide whether you're going to give up on something. Get a perspective on it. Now, the third D. How many people here feel like distraction is a big issue for you when you set out to say, "I'm going to get these 3 things done today," and you get it done at the end of your day, and you're like, "I didn't get any of that done. I got distracted." Well, John Dumas says that Facebook and Twitter and text messages and emails are weapons of mass destruction. And so he says the solution to that is focus. And there's a great acronym that goes with focus. Follow one course until successful. Say that with me. Follow one course until successful. Focus. Get some focus in your life. When I swam competitively, I swam breaststroke, and what happens in breaststroke is you put your head down, you pull it up, you take a breath, and then you go. And I stayed focused on the wall, and I won. And I said, how did that happen? And they said, oh, the guy that beat you turned his head to the side to see if he was ahead or not. And that after half a second of looking, and you stayed focused, that's what caused you to win. I'm like, oh, focus on your own progress, and you win. I did some more research and found out Jeff Bezos had the same philosophy when he started Amazon. He told his 500 people, imagine Amazon at 500 people, don't worry about Barnes & Nobles, they have 5,000 people. We're just going to focus on being the best online bookseller we can be. Remember when Amazon just sold books? Guess what? That's the secret. Focus on doing one thing really well, and then expand. One of the investors I interviewed on my podcast said, so many people come to me and they're trying to boil the ocean. Oh, wow. Just boil a cup of water. Focus on the books. Prove you can do that. Then start selling everything onto the planet, right? One of the other key issues when I was working at W Magazine was they said, well, you're in Los Angeles, so it's up to you to figure this out because, Vanity Fair and InStyle are having these big Oscar parties. What are we going to do? And I said, we're going to focus on our own brand and not try to compete with that. How about if we do something on Golden Globe nights? By the way, everyone's in a much better mood at the Golden Globes because no one's lost anything yet. It's the beginning of the award season. So we did, and we had a party at the Chateau Marmont. Tom Cruise and other celebrities like that showed up. Our advertisers were happy. We got publicity way before the Oscar stuff started. When you focus on your own progress, you let go of the distraction of worrying about what everybody else is doing. But the other big secret to countering distraction is stillness. How can you possibly remember who you are if you never give yourself a minute to become still and listen to the inner voice telling you who you are and what you want? This is a tool that people in Silicon Valley are using, that people running companies like Facebook are meditating. They even have police meditating now. It's proven. If you want to let go of distractions, focus and get still. I've used it in my sales career. When you ask someone, let's say, would you like to buy the house? And then all the negative self-talk comes in. Oh my God, if I have to show this person one more house, or I really need this commission. And you say, well, I'll throw the refrigerator in. Then you've lost the chance for that person to say yes or no, because you're not comfortable in the silence. So I tell my clients, just tell yourself, I am patient and calm after you ask someone if they want to buy, hire, whatever it is. Those extra 3 to 5 seconds have caused salespeople to double their sales because people pick up energetically that you're giving them the space. You are still. The secret, ready, to becoming comfortable with the silence in the room is to become comfortable with the silence in your head. I suggest meditation. So we've got disappointment. We know how to conquer that with forgiveness. We've got the other D of discouragement, keep perspective, and now distraction. Handle that with focus and stillness. Now we're ready that we've overcome those roadblocks to conquer asking for more. There's confidence, there's connection, and there is a great way of pulling all of those things together. So when you start with confidence, Arthur Ashe said the key to success is confidence, and the key to confidence is preparation. So don't wing it. Don't just get up here and say, oh, I'll just see what happens, what comes out of my mouth when you're asking people to engage with you, when you want people to connect with you. It's really important to focus on your confidence. Now, sometimes we get nervous, we get butterflies in our stomach. Right? The goal is not to get rid of those butterflies in your stomach, but to get them to fly in formation. You're the thinker thinking the thought. You control your body. You don't let your body, oh my God, I've got butterflies in my stomach. Shocker, right? This is a big moment. I'm interviewing for a job. I'm asking someone to do something. I'm up here speaking, whatever your big moment is. Don't resent the butterflies. Just say, okay, I'm in charge. We're going to get those butterflies and fly in formation. Another big way to improve your confidence is to focus on your progress. How many people here think of themselves as perfectionists? One or two. Oh, a little more than that. Perfectionists can stop you from doing anything. Oh, it's not perfect, I'm not doing it. Instead, I want to invite you to become progressionists. I'm going to be a progressionist. I'm going to celebrate all the progress I'm making. Our brains crave it. So when you track, look how far I've come, your confidence goes up. Now, another great tip is putting on your 10 face. My friend had a little boy, 8 years old, and he was always coming in last in school. And she goes, I don't know what to do. And I said, let me hire my friend Jay, who's a trainer, who's got a boot camp LA. And he will work with Max. And he gets Max out in the field. He goes, okay, Max, let me see you run. And Max runs. He goes, Max, is that really as fast as you can go? And Max shrugs his shoulders. He goes, oh, well, on a scale of 1 to 10, Max, what would you give that? And Max goes, what? I don't understand that. And he goes, all right, well, this is me running at level 5. And Jay runs. Now, Max, I'm going to put my 10 face on and give it everything I got. Put your 10 face on, Max. Max does. He runs. He's faster. Next day at school, he doesn't come in last. He goes, hey, you know what the secret to running is? It's putting on your 10 face. I go, it's a secret to everything. Now, another great tip is to stack your moments of certainty in your life. So before you're going to do something new, whether it's going for a job interview, applying for college, interviewing, asking for a raise, whatever it is, remember all the times in your life when you've been successful. I don't care if it's when you passed your driver's license test. Just start writing things down. Well, I went on a date, I got a second date. I went on an interview, I got the offer, right? The more you stack your moments of certainty and put those thoughts in your head when you're going out to try something new and put that in your head, the more successful you'll be. One of my clients, Martin, said this exercise was incredible before he went to pitch for funding. He said, I grew up in the Netherlands, but I'm originally from South America. And when I turned 18, my parents took me back to South America and dropped me off naked in the Amazon jungle to survive for 2 weeks because in my culture, that's the rite of passage into manhood. I said, guess what? We just found the opening to your pitch. That gives me goosebumps. I said, what did you learn in the Amazon jungle? He said, well, I learned how to focus and pivot and persevere. I said, terrific. We're going to take those lessons from the Amazon jungle to the concrete jungle of being an entrepreneur. And he won a pitch contest and got his startup funded. Because the investor said, hey, I'm going to put my money on the guy that survived the Amazon jungle because he'll survive anything that happens in the business world. So stack those moments of certainty. Now, the other secret is something called the superhero pose. And I just happen to have a superhero cape. This has been proven by Harvard research studies that when you hold the Superman pose, and I want everybody to stand up and do the Superman pose with me, your testosterone goes up and your cortisol stress level goes down. Doctors do this before surgery. And so you stand like you're Superman, right? You put your hands on your hips, your head up, there's a cape billowing behind you. You can see the big ass, right? I had a client do this for 2 minutes, and his wife walked by and gave him a kiss. So you never know what's going to happen when you hold the superhero pose. If you really want a double whammy, hold the superhero pose and stack your moments of certainty, and you'll really have your confidence soar. Good job, superheroes. You can sit down. So now we've got our confidence level way up where it needs to be. We can go into a connection with people. So in order to connect with people, after 30 years of being in sales, I've heard no more than most people here in a lifetime. But we all have to sell ourselves. We have to sell ourselves to get hired, to get a date, to get promoted, to get into college, to get your startup funded. So most people are not comfortable selling themselves. They feel like they're pushing themselves on people. I say, forget selling, tell stories instead. Because selling requires pushing yourself and your message out on people. When you tell a story, you pull people in. So that's important for us to realize how to tell stories. When you connect with people, the first step is rapport building. And that starts with our gut. It's a gut response. Fight or flight. Do I trust you? Is the first unspoken question people have. The handshake was literally an indication back in the day that you don't have to run, I'm not going to hurt you, I don't have a weapon. And we still use a handshake as the first initial way of greeting people that we don't know. That's the trust. Gut. Do I trust you? Is it safe to stay here? Then we move up to the heart. This is, do I like you? I got to trust you, but do I like you? Well, Tim Sanders wrote a great book called The Likability Factor. Turns out doctors spend more time with patients they like, teachers spend more time with students they like. In order to increase your likability factor, show empathy for the person you're talking to. Put yourself in their shoes. If I go up to an office and a receptionist is busy, and I say to her, oh, I'm sorry you're busy, I'm here for an appointment, that doesn't help my likability factor. But if I say, oh my God, you must feel like an air traffic controller today. You've got 3 phones lying in the FedEx people here. Whenever you get a second, I have an appointment. She's like, I kind of do feel like an air traffic controller. I like you, this guy. And she won't even know why, but show empathy. That's a real key to getting people to like you. Then the final stage is, so I trust you, I like you. Now we move to the head. Will this work for me? That's where the intellectual part stuff. Best way to show someone that what you have to offer will work for them? Tell a story. Somebody I worked with was just like you when I first met them, and they were stuck, and I got them unstuck. And I'm like, oh, well, maybe this will work for me. Judy Robinette, one of my business partners, wrote a wonderful book called How to Be a Power Connector. So when you're going out and meeting people for the first time, she has 3 golden questions. The first one is, how can I help you? The second one is, what advice do you have for me? And the third one is, who else do you know I could talk to? Once you get people to trust and like you and open up on how they can help you and you can help them, then your world starts to take off. Now, to get to the actual juicy part of being a storyteller, Plato said storytellers rule the world. So if we can learn to tell stories, this will be an amazing gift that you take away from today. Stories have structure to them. There's exposition, who, what, where, when, just like a journalist. Then there's a problem, there's a solution, and then there's a happy outcome, ideally. There's some little challenge along the way. Let's go back to the Martin story in the Amazon jungle. When I was working with him on the exposition, the who, what, where, when, he sometimes forgot when he was practicing to say that it's in his culture to drop somebody off naked. I said, if you don't say that, it sounds like child abuse. So exposition's very important. The problem is he's naked in the Amazon jungle. The solution is he figures out a way to survive it, and the outcome is he now can take those lessons to the concrete jungle. He gets funded from a great pitch. So that's the structure of a good story. Now, there are many story genres, so I'm going to give you a story genre, I'm going to give you a movie, because who doesn't love movies, and I'm going to give you a brand that uses that so that you can figure out as you're listening to this, what story genre and movie and tagline do I want to have? Because I want you all to think of yourselves as brand. So the first one is rags to riches. That's the genre. The movie, Cinderella. Right? She goes from poor little girl in the ashes to becoming rich. Well, Johnny Walker Scott uses that. There's this poor farmer, and now he's Johnny Walker. The second genre is rebirth. And that is something that is in A Wonderful Life. I love that movie, right? You get another chance. Prudential says retirement's a third act. It's a rebirth. It's not the end. See? Then the third one is leave home and come back and tell about it. That's the genre. Wizard of Oz, hello. Expedia uses that genre. Leave home, book your trip on Expedia, have a great adventure, and come back and tell your friends. Right? So we've got rebirth, we've got rags to riches, we've got quest, which is where you go out, like Lord of the Rings does, and Lexus uses that for the perfect pursuit of perfection. So there's the basics of storytelling right now that you can connect with people on. So sometimes you'll tell a great story and people will say, yeah, but I still don't want to buy or take what you're doing because let's say the common objection is, your price is too high. So I have 3 F's to counter that. I understand how you could feel that our price is too high. Others have felt that way, and what they found is it's worth the investment. This worked when I was giving a talk and a woman raised her hand. She goes, how could I apply this in dating? I said, well, tell me the situation. And she said, well, I've met this guy, I've gone out a couple times, he wants to go to bed with me, I'm not quite ready, what could I say? Well, I understand how you feel, because let's face it, I'm hot. Other guys have felt the same way, and what they found is, I'm worth the wait. Feel, felt, found. Right? So now you got it. All right, so now we've overcome the objections. Now we can move into commitment. I saw a video recently where somebody has trained their little dog to tap a little bell, like those bells you see when you want service at a hotel or something. And every time that dog taps that bell, he gets a treat. Totally guilt-free. Ding, 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 another treat, please. That dog has no shame. No guilt, asking for more. More, please. You know, when you're asking for a commitment on anything, it's like landing the plane. When you get on an airplane, you know you're going from here to New York. When they make the announcement, we're now landing, you don't suddenly go, what? We're landing? I thought we were just going to fly around forever. When you're selling houses, you don't say, I'm going to show you houses for the next 5 years. When you're an interior designer, you're like, let me just show you every fabric that exists. We're never going to buy anything. We're never going to land the plane. You know, you're auditioning for something, you're interviewing for a job, you're like, oh, you're never going to make me an offer, you're never going to decide, I'm just going to keep coming back we're never landing the plane. No, you got to land the plane. You are a co-pilot with the universe. Land the plane together. And in order to land the plane and get commitment, you need to become irresistible. So would you like to learn how to go from invisible to irresistible? Yeah. So invisible, I don't know, this probably never happened to anyone here because you're all gorgeous, but I've been in situations before I was lucky enough to get married to Oscar where I would see someone I'm attracted to and I would feel invisible. They wouldn't know I'm there. And then you move up slightly from that rung and you go from invisible to, I see you, but you're insignificant. Honestly, I don't know which is worse. And then you get to interesting. You're like, oh, maybe you say something witty or fun. They're like, oh, you're interesting. And maybe you've said something about what you're doing that people are like, oh, I'm interested, but I'm certainly not going to hire you yet or go on a date with you yet. But then you move up one more rung to intriguing. I literally had a proposal that I sent out to someone, and he literally said, I'm intrigued, tell me more. I'm like, almost to the top, where you get to irresistible. I interviewed Charles Michael Yim, who's the only person in Shark Tank history to ever get all 5 sharks to give him money. He became irresistible because he could paint a picture of the problem he was solving with a great solution, which is the breathometer, where you breathe into it and it tells you what your alcohol content is and whether you should get behind the wheel of a car or not. So he could paint that picture so the investors could say, oh, I'm going to make a lot of money, but I really want in on this because I'm going to help save lives. I want in. That's really what the universe is waiting for you to get. You're irresistible when you know who you are and you paint a picture. Now, one of my favorite examples of becoming committed to something is Françoise Gillot. She's Paloma Picasso's mother. I had the good fortune to meet her, and I was invited to her home in New York City. She is in her 80s then. She greeted me with her charming French accent, and she said, you know, in the war, John, there was a shortage of canvases, and we literally had to paint over our masterpieces. She goes, here's one that I really like. It's the 5th painting I did. I think the one underneath, the 3rd one, is my favorite. And I thought, wow, how sad. No one's ever going to see that. But I can keep that 3rd painting alive by telling you that story, and she can say, I didn't care if anybody ever saw it. I was committed to expressing my art. The art has to come out. So if you're going to become someone who paints a picture, why not become Picasso and become the Picasso of pitches? I suspect, that many people here want to make a difference. And you need to become aware, in order to make a difference, you have to ask more of yourself and more of the universe. The universe is like shouting an echo out. If we shout out, I'm scared, I'm not enough, that's what comes back, I'm scared, I'm not enough. Or it's fresh every second. It doesn't matter what you shouted out 5 seconds ago, 5 minutes ago, 5 years ago. You can let go of it all. It's a fresh echo. More love, please. More passion, please. More health, please. And you get that echoing back. So if you want more and you want to become irresistible to all that life has to offer, then commit to expressing yourself, even if it means painting over your masterpieces. Namaste. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.